Okay, folks, I'm going to look into something that is a bit suspect to me, actually. See if you feel the same way. Because I'm starting to. The eagerness with which this person divulges this information just seems too set up, you know? And he's so eager. I just am suspect about it. So, anyway. This is one of those clandestine, Project Veritas, James O'Keefe videos, but it's a place called Sound Investigations, and I think they're doing good work, But it also makes me suspect. So they had a gay date with this former FBI CIA employee who says approximately 20 undercover agents were in the J6 crowd, boasting about taking away Alex Jones' money. Okay, and Sound Investigations did this. They went on this, they had somebody go on this gay date with this dude. Gavin O'Blennis, contracting officer for the Central Intelligence Agency. So this is an undercover video. And it reveals that this former FBI employee and contracting CIA officer, Gavin O'Blennis, claimed that there were at least 20 FBI agents in the J6 crowd. O'Blennis also revealed that the agency was behind the lawsuit brought by Sandy Hook families against Alex Jones. In the end, he said the agency got what it wanted, to take all his money. And I kind of am suspect myself of this because I've seen some video that it's surprising how some of the people speaking at Sandy Hook and some of the families, they actually have backgrounds as like rejected actors. It's really kind of odd. You'll have to look into that yourself. But the new report from Sound Investigations is with O'Blennis was recorded on March 15th, 22nd, and 28th on a series of dates or something. O'Blennis told the undercover journalist that he had been an employee with the FBI and that he's a contracting officer for the CIA. His LinkedIn profile says he has been with DHS since December 2022. We'll get to that in a second here, but let's go ahead and watch this. It's kind of interesting. So
You can kind of put anyone in jail if you know what to do.
How? Does Bureau practice entrapment a lot?
Yeah, we get really close. We call it a nudge.
A nudge.
A nudge. Sometimes you just gotta give a quick look, just to see what happens. Sometimes you light the fuse and just wait for it to follow. That's what we're putting on a fake social media thing to like really get people mad.
Alex Jones.
Yeah, so we were after him.
You are?
We did what we wanted.
Which is what?
Took his money away, chopped his legs off.
Gavin O'Blennis is a contracting officer at the CIA. O'Blennis worked for the FBI in 2021 and 2022 in the San Diego office, moved on to Homeland Security where he conducted asylum interviews at the southern border, and now works for the CIA managing multi-million-dollar contracts across government agencies and private sector vendors.
I work for, I'm not supposed to tell people.
Oh.
Kind of job. If I say intelligence, what do you think?
CIA?
Yep.
Oh, you work for the CIA?
I do.
That's
I'm a
incredible.
contracting officer.
Amazing.
So I deal a lot with like different agencies. We're contracting with like Director of National Intelligence to do stuff. We do Navy, Army, any of them really. I just FBI. I used to work for the FBI, so they threw the FBI at me. They're like, here, you used to work there. Oh, I'm permanent. I said, yeah.
Good. Well, why do they call it contract?
Because I do the contracting for them. I do all the legal contracts. I fly out to vendors and evaluate them. I love the agency. Good for you. I like the Bureau, too. The Bureau was a lot of fun. I got to do a lot of cool stuff with the Bureau. I was the guy in the back of the truck in the van.
O'Blennis spoke to an undercover Sound Investigations reporter about his work experience involving near entrapment and his employer's involvement with political commentator Alex Jones's legal battles.
As long as the Bureau is able to progress far enough to be able to put pro-lifers in jail whenever they want.
Yeah.
You think that's on the agenda?
We can kind of put anyone in jail if you know what to do.
How?
You create the situation to where they have no choice but to act on their compliance. Once they act on that impulse, then we call that entrapment. It's a fine line.
Does Bureau practice entrapment a lot?
Yeah, we get really close.
Not officially.
No, we get as close as we can, and we get as close as we can to it without it.
So they can entrap some of these pro-lifers into doing things that they don't.
Depending, yeah. We call it a nudge.
A nudge.
A nudge. Sometimes it's
Okay, I'm gonna stop it there because that video is just. I'm getting some real. I don't know. My network is weird, or it's just the way X is. I don't know, but in essence, he says some interesting things here. He said, the agency can put anyone in jail. How? You set them up. I think this is interesting. You create the situation where they have no choice but to act on their impulse. And once they act on that impulse, someone would call that entrapment. It's a fine line. We get really close. We get as close as we can without doing it. And the FBI calls it a nudge. This is interesting too, and I didn't show this in the video because the video is having trouble. So let me just tell you. The former FBI employee said that the agency will put up a fake post up in order to trigger somebody. So like on social media, Twitter or somewhere, to get a desired reaction. He added that once they get to this point, they already know your history and know everything about you. When asked if this could lead to a rally by the journalist, the former FBI employee said sometimes it could occur. And that the FBI was after Alex Jones hardcore, but not anymore because he is broke. After the Sandy Hook defamation lawsuit, he said the agency wanted to shut Jones up, and they succeeded. And the goal with him was what? Just to bankrupt him? Pretty much, and we let the Sandy Hook families do it. We don't encourage people, the employee clarified. We just say there's no federal statute being broken, but you do have the option for a civil case, and it's a pretty good case in our opinion. So anyway, and remember, that was a $1.5 billion case with the families suing him in civil court. So there's some nuances here, and there's some things that I just kind of am super suspect about. Like I said earlier on, one, you could say this. You could say, what's the deal? Like here, seriously, like a couple of times was like James O'Keefe. He's been on some gay dates and stuff. And he gets these gay guys who work for the federal government, I guess. And they tend to blab. I'm serious. There's something going on. Gay guys just love to blab, I guess. And not all gay guys, but they sure seem to get the guys who just love to blab. The second thing is I would think, if you're a CIA contracting officer, now apparently he doesn't know that he's being recorded, but I just have to wonder at this point, the CIA and the FBI have most likely done a ton of homework on James O'Keefe, these types of undercover camera investigations. Now, I'm not dissing on sound investigations. I'm saying, hey, man, you guys are doing great. And it's revealing a lot. And it reveals also that I also feel like with him being so eager and overt and just like, I did the FBI. I was the guy who sat in the back of the truck. And I did this too. And just almost arrogantly talking about this without any concern makes me wonder if this also is a bit of they're aware that this might be some sort of undercover date. I mean, come on, you got to think at this point, who isn't getting the memo at the FBI, whoever, the memo that, hey, if you're on dating sites, be aware that you're probably going to get dates. You might get a date with somebody who's trying to fish for information from you. So be very aware of that. And, probably something like, what do I do if I do go on a date? What do I tell them? it just feels a little faked out. Like this dude is faking out because I'm like, if you're a current CIA officer, it just seems like you're throwing it all down on the line at this point by just blabbing openly about it. It just seems suspect. Do you know what I mean? That they are aware that they possibly are being recorded. Again, sound investigations, they've done a great job. But I have to say, that quote saying, we put people in a, here it is. Oh, we create a situation where they have no choice but to act on their impulse. You set them up. And once they act on that impulse, someone would call that entrapment. Entrapment or extreme provocation, like the case with the pseudo-kidnapping plot for Governor Whitmer up in Michigan, where it was like 2 of the guys or 4 of the guys were actually just guys, citizens. And then like the other 12 were FBI agents. And basically the FBI planned the whole thing. And so that makes me suspect. But the thing is they set them up. That I believe. They put them in a place where they have to react on their impulses. And so Kyle Seraphin says, what does a contracting officer do? What is an operations technician at the FBI? Kyle Seraphin, he was an FBI agent. I think he might have been a whistleblower. Not sure. Alex Jones said, I know you're a smart guy. Please come on my show and give your take. The last time you were on, it was very informative. Kyle says, I'd love to. You know, I'm not saying you were wrong on the topic. I'm saying this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. See? And Kyle Seraphin was an FBI agent, so he was going on about this. He asked that question, what is a contracting officer for the CIA? Alex Jones said, a contracting officer is in charge. Kyle Seraphin follows up by saying, of nothing. They negotiate the business deals for software or are chain agreements, not ops. So procurement? Somewhat? Come on, Alex, this is a BS story. They definitely did you dirty, but this is proof of nothing. The real story today is out of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and an ISIS counterterrorism setup. Yes, there is that going on in Idaho today. And I might do something on that, might not, but I encourage you to look it up. So, you know, again, sometimes there's distractions that are purposely put out there. Awaken the Masses says, I haven't seen anything about the Idaho ISIS story yet. Kyle, do you have a link? Podcast? Okay, let's move on from that. I love your take on this. Okay, so Advanced Warfighter says, bro, the feds make up all kind of titles. Comptroller's office has BFMs or business finance managers, while this guy gets the emails about specific contracts that's been rewarded. He provides government oversight on contractual obligations with Antifa and BLM, most likely. It's interesting. Only contracting officers, specific educational and experience requirements are allowed to sign contracts, grants, and or cooperative agreements on behalf of the federal government. I was one for the DoD for more than 25 years. At one point in my career, I had an unlimited warrant. Fascism, apparently. A whistleblower, I hope. Money for those that obey the deep state. Okay, so there was a bit of a dialogue going on between Kyle Seraphin and Alex Jones. So hopefully he does show up on his show to kind of give some more insight on this. Excellent journalism. Catching them on camera like this is exactly what is needed right now. Now, I agree with that. It is good, catching them on camera. On the other hand, this kind of makes me suspicious. He's so eager and overt about it. And come on, they're not that stupid. I really, the CIA and FBI are not this stupid. I believe they know all about this stuff. They're like very aware of these undercover dates. And I just have a feeling, I'm like, there's probably a couple of memos been sent out. If you are dating or you're in the dating pool right now, be very aware that you might be recorded. That's why it makes me suspect. This dude sure knows everything about domestic issues. I thought he was CIA. Does CIA do domestic stuff now? Educating Sandy Hook family seems like practicing law without a license. Interesting. Does anyone else think this is a little too on the nose? This person nailed it. Like all your suspicions are confirmed in one neat little package. Well, again, there's two things going on. He seems suspect to me, like he seems aware that this might be a setup. On the other hand, though, it did reveal some information about the impulse. You set them up. You entrapment, not quite, but almost. And you basically lead them into a trap where they just almost have to react on their impulses, or you force them to act on their impulses. Let's see, that's Ron Paul right there speaking. The CIA probably rules the world at this point. The fact that these guys are still an agency is beyond me. Maybe this will help Alex. Please tell me this was James O'Keefe wearing just a clown nose. You set people up, you create the situation to where they have no choice but to act on their impulses. He says impulsively while being set up. The irony. It's, again, I'm a little suspicious about this guy, though. Trump isn't running against Biden. He's running against Soros, Murdoch's, ABCC. Yeah, we get that. If there's any truth to what he says, and if his background is legit, he may end up missing. Yeah, or else he is kind of a bit of a plant. You know? A sobering thought. So anyway, yeah, and this guy says what I said earlier. Notice that in this investigation, as well as James O'Keefe's investigations of government workers, the ones with the biggest mouths that spill the beans all appear to be gay. That is objectively true. Yeah. Lots of big mouths out there, and they all are on the gay dates when they do the setups. I don't know. This is an IT guy and an administrative drone. How would he know about covert FBI operations to screw Alex Jones or incite a riot? Balancing national security and civil liberties is delicate work. It's vital to ensure thoughtful oversight and accountability on all actions, striving for a harmonious society where justice and freedom coexist. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's, I don't know if AI wrote that. Sure sounds like it. Sure, this guy oozes credibility. CIA contracting officer. Definitely would have been in the room when one of the biggest and ultra secret, completely fictional, by the way, conspiracies was ever hatched. Yeah. Interesting. Oh, here's somebody who's mad. Luke Zaleski, this is playing interference for the deep state right here. Oh, Condé Nast. Okay, he's mainstream media, even though it's a travel mag. Still. Keeping track of the BS excuses for Trump's incitement we've been fed so far. So his job is to play interference as a journalist, pseudo-journalist troll. The excuses for Trump's indictment. BLM did it. Antifa did it. Nancy did it. FBI did it. Capitol Cops did it. Twitter did it. Well, that's actually been proven. The FBI part, that they were involved. That's actually been proven. Nancy Pelosi, that's also been proven. And there's one hell of a lot of evidence that Antifa was involved because John, I forget his name, he's from Salt Lake City. He's a black kid. He showed up dressed up as a MAGA supporter at this. There's footage of this, actually. And he's right next to our favorite man, Ray Epps. And he went in there. And he's a known Antifa member. Like, he is known from his post to be a huge Antifa member. So, actually, Luke, I appreciate you pushing back and doing your job as a troll for the deep state. But the fact is there's actually evidence of some of this now. Never trust what the government says. I'm from the government, and I'm here to help. He's like the Nazis and SS. I'm just following orders. He should get fired now and post any security clearance he had. Yeah, that's why I'm thinking he's just too eager to throw in a big job like that. He's probably getting paid decent, has some good benefits, but to throw in the towel just by blabbering on a date like that, doesn't appear to be drunk, nothing like that. He's just chunky. Just seems too posed. It seems too much like a plant on a date. It's weird. OMG, and you have a top secret clearance of ALEC you just voided. Anybody else notice these guys are almost always light in the loafers? That kind loves to run their mouth. Yeah, the cybersecurity guy for the White House that James O'Keefe went on a date on with him, he was wearing those Clark Kent glasses. That was it. And I thought, come on, you guys don't recognize James O'Keefe, and that guy was a blabbermouth too, and he was gay. So that's just, I'm not saying, hey, if you want to be gay, fine, but it just seems like a trait of these guys who blab the most are gay too. I don't know if they just like to be heard or attention or what. That's just FBI agents. How many CIA, HSA, ATF, and civilian contractors? They shouldn't have released this until they got more out of him. Well, I don't know. They might have more. They went on 3 dates, apparently. And they said that was part 1. So they may have more. Did anyone think that these Intel bros would be so unattractive? Well, you're right. And look at those dead eyes. Definitely not how the media presents them. Well, of course not. Yeah, don't get any impression. This James Bond is a bunch of bull. It's mostly these tubs of lard, unhealthy types. They eat out a lot, eat a lot of fast food, and they definitely look like the food that they eat. Chicken fingers and fatty BBQ with sauce, and they just have that appearance that they already eat horribly. So yeah, there's no James Bond stuff going on here. Shocking statements, keeping them away from parking lots. Wouldn't it be great to see a lawsuit? When the wicked are multiplied, transgression increases, but the righteous shall see their fall. The most compelling information was watching the video of the school children walking across the street within feet of the so-called munitions device at the DNC. Remember the pipe munitions device at the DNC on J6th, where Kamala Harris was also claimed to be. These people are frauds and they can't stop lying. Yeah, and that J6 pipe munition thing is, that's just being debunked as we go. I mean, that thing is being debunked. That was fraudulent. That was a hoax. Gotta love it when he is the one who was set up to do something on impulse to impress his date and ran his mouth to this degree. Yeah. Oh yeah, real Alex Jones. Looks like you got a case and more to sue the FBI and more, on top of appealing the case to the Supreme Court and get the case overturned. Queens sure love to tell all. Loose lips sink ships. I guess. Guy just became a liability to the 3-letter agencies. Fish food. You can kind of put anyone in jail if you know what to do. Andrew Tate, I believe you've been stating that for a long time, haven't you? Interesting coming from this guy, however. What a canoe. The benefit of all these gays in government is they like to brag on dates. That might be true. Dude is gay and spills the beans. Gays in sensitive positions are the absolute easiest no-brainer targets for espionage, leaking information to impress someone they want to bed. This is beneficial to exposing corruption and unethical behavior, and at the same time a danger for national security. There might be true. I mean, I'm just saying, like, maybe that desire to have to get attention, craving attention, and having just having to blab, that makes them a liability for sure. Yeah, so gays in government. This inadvertently leaked information surprises no one who understands how law enforcement and intelligence agencies operate. The question is whether any of those FBI undercover operators might have acted as agents provocateurs on J6. Well, yes, that's what they were. To be agent provocateur, however you say it, makes it sound slick. Agent provocateurs. So they go out there, they provoke, just like he said. And then they basically corner people and force them to act on their impulses. They set them up to that degree. And then the people do that, and they're like, oh, look, you know, and I'm going to die from not being surprised. Yeah, I know. Another commie creep high up in the chain. They've infiltrated at every level. That's pretty much true. These beta guys sure do talk. It's weird that people think that everyone employed by the FBI is some kind of high-level operative. LOL, like every Marine is recon. LOL. I bet he was bullied as a child. His ego won't let him stop talking. It's not so much the acts of treason, or what should be, he talks about. It's the blasé attitude toward them, as if three-letter agencies are above reproach, that sickens me. Well, that is very true. Above reproach. They do believe that they're above reproach because they have been for decades. The FBI and CIA, I believe, they've been above reproach since the time of like Dulles. And they decided they would go around relying on budgets from the Congress by simply being involved in drug trafficking, sex trafficking, clandestine wars, color revolutions, things like that, that was a way they could get their own budget padded without relying on Congress. So they wouldn't have to have an audit or Congress look into the details of what they were doing. And so I do agree that they feel like they're above reproach because I believe there's no accountability. They're kind of almost immune from accountability by the American citizens. And I would say even the government themselves, even the office of the presidency, Congress, Supreme Court to a degree, that they have immunized themselves in just the most devious ways. So if you've been doing that for decades, then you claim it to be audacious. If somebody asks you for accountability or asks you for records on something or evidence, you believe that's just the audacity of that person or that congressman or somebody to ask us for records. And if they have to, they'll provide something that ends up being a lie. Anyway, something seems off with him. I don't trust what he was saying. It's too much of what everyone wants and expects to hear. I'm going to leave it there because that's exactly what I think. I don't trust what he's saying. It's too much of what everyone wants and expects to hear. Yeah, it's just kind of big events like Sandy Hook, J6, and the smugness and arrogancy and the confidence, the over eagerness and confidence just seems suspect. That's why I believe there's a bit of a setup going on here, that even if they're not even sure they're being filmed, that maybe they went and they were just lying the whole time just to lead people off on what they claim to be a conspiracy theory. And that would be my theory on this, is that I believe that too, that something's off with this particular date, and it just seems a bit too set up and a bit too scripted. So anyway, Sound Investigations are doing good work, but I don't know about this guy. I don't know if he's really telling much. He's telling stuff that just seems like he's aware of what's going on. So, and how could you not be at this point with all the James O'Keefe stuff? Come on. Anyway, let me know what you think, folks, in the comments, and subscribe and put a like on the video if you like it. And thanks for watching. I'll talk to you later.